Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, delivered to you by the great folks at DoorDash.
Ding dong.
Use promo code CONVODD, capital C, capital D's, all one word, CONVODD. That will get you 25% off and free delivery on your first order with the DoorDash app. Does not get much better than that, folks. My name's Dave Quadrelli. I'm joined, as always, by the man who built the place, Chris Faber. Our technical producer is Alex Allard. This is the Canucks Conversation, and hey, it was a big win for those Vancouver Canucks in Denver, my friend.
Yeah, not in a good mood though.
Tell me, are you gonna start with this again? What are you in a bad mood about?
Well, today's Thanksgiving in the United States of America. Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday because you don't have to buy gifts, but you still get a turkey dinner out of it.
Sure.
I'm not going to be having turkey dinner tonight. I'm going to be having, what am I going to be having? Probably stir fry again. Actually, no, I'm having pita and chicken and tzatziki stuff, which is a good meal. One of those. Do you have these in your house where it's like a meal that you pretty much have like at least once a week? Like we do Korean tacos, like the little taco kit. We do the Korean tacos like once a week for sure.
Nice.
We've mixed in this stir fry that I'm doing here with the snow peas. I tell you, I love the snow peas. And pita is like every second week. We do like chicken pitas.
Okay.
So that's what we're having tonight. I'm not having a turkey. I'm fine with it.
We have the regular meal. The regular meal for me, like we have it multiple times a week, is chicken with either rice or mashed potatoes.
Yeah, you have that a lot. You got that in the leftovers
with the Brussels sprouts and bacon. Oh, it's so good. Anyways,
chicken breast though. You just do straight chicken breasts.
Yeah, you go to Costco, you get the big pack.
What's the one part of things like? Because I get jealous of the Thanksgiving meals. I miss the stuffing. I like the stuffing and the potatoes.
I have a box of stuffing that I've been waiting to make, and I think I'm just gonna make it tonight. Like I'm making steak tonight.
You can have stuffing with a chicken breast. I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have stuffing.
Stuffing doesn't get used enough in regular days. It's a big holiday thing for sure. Everyone loves their stuff, but yeah, I mean, like, you know,
I'm gonna have some stuffing tonight with some steak.
Canucks Convo next year, Sterling says, should have I should go over stateside for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm waiting on the government here. All the higher ups in the world, they all out to get me. The Nation Network guys, the government. I'm waiting on my passport to come back now. So I've heard some people said it takes like I sent it off probably a month ago, maybe a little bit more than a month. It's gonna be a while, I think. But then I'll be back down there. Go and make a run down to Target there. I got to pick up some of these instead of sending my fiance down to the States all the time. What the heck's going on here, Alex?
It's not Alex's fault.
Well, yeah, you're right. I can't blame Alex on everything.
You know, Lisa, I think it was Lisa. Or no, it wasn't Lisa. It was Knucklehead jumped in the chat yesterday and said, I love how Quads has to keep Faber in check on the show now. Like I'm like babysitting you. Tomorrow is the first show without me. And it's just you and Harmon tomorrow.
That could go off the rails.
Yeah,
because you know what? There's no game to talk about. Like we got a game to preview, which we'll get to. But I think Harmon's a little bit better at keeping it on the rail. He's probably better than you at keeping it on the rail. Because sometimes I can rope you into my nonsense and get you going into that direction. But sometimes you keep it on the rails.
Well, that's the thing is Harmon, you know, and you got to make sure he stops feeling this way. But Harmon always feels like he's a guest on the show. He doesn't want to drive the bus, which is fine. I get it, but someone's got to drive the bus with you because it can't be you. Unless you smarten up. We'll see.
It thinks it for the YouTube folks, they think my can's the green screen here. Sorry, podcast listeners.
Sorry, podcast listeners. Sorry, Quads. Sorry, live stream viewers.
Sorry, Alex.
Sorry, Alex. Exactly.
Alex
deserves the biggest apology of all. Okay. So let's get into this. The Vancouver Canucks had a win last night in Denver. Where do you want to start on that game? Because I got some thoughts on this.
Look at this. Nice job, Alex. This graphic here looks beautiful. Let's get started with the interesting guys who scored. That Ethan Bear goal, I tell you, holy. Like the Canucks had that, they tweeted out the video of the other angle that they had from, I guess, like somebody near the glass or whatever, taking the shot from that angle. That was just a beautiful shot. Game winner there, obviously, for Ethan Bear, but big night for Sheldon Dries,
who is 8th on the Canucks in scoring now.
Wild, which is a wild thought in its own right. But I thought it was just a good performance. I mean, they battled back against a team that is the defending Stanley Cup champions. Were able to come back from a deficit. The interesting thing was outscoring that Avalanche team 4-1 at even strength, 3-1 at 5-on-5, and then they obviously had the 4-on-4 goal, which was like when I saw the players come over the boards, I'm like, what the heck is Sheldon Dries and I believe was it Dakota? No, Niels Amon, I think it might have been. It was two players that didn't really make sense being out there at 4-on-4, and they score. So whatever, this is why I'm not an NHL coach. This is why Bruce Boudreau is the coach. But big night, 2 points for Ethan Bear, 2 points for OEL, 2 points for Sheldon Dries. Good night for those guys, I tell you what. And OEL, didn't have the best game for being a dog. There was definitely some mistakes and some things where he looks like an absolute liability. Watching some of those, there was the one play where JT Compher just skated a circle around OEL. And in my mind, I was like, oh, man, Mikko Rantanen can fly. And I was like, wait, that's not Rantanen, that's JT Compher. Just absolutely skating a circle around OEL. So he had his struggles for sure, but he had 2 primary assists in that game as well. So I thought that some of the guys stepped up when, you got your goal from Bo Horvat. It's pretty much just a lock at this point. But,
yeah, exactly.
But I tell you, to see a goal from Ethan Bear, to see a goal from Sheldon Dries, up to this point in the season, you got to be pretty happy with what Ethan Bear is looking like on this team for sure. And listen, Dries has had some ups and downs, but I think he's playing because he's an offensive center, right? That's what he is. He might not be like an NHL offensive center, but his bread and butter is being a center and being offensive. And right now the Canucks kind of need that role in their third line because look at the wingers that he's playing with, right? I think that there is a reason why Curtis Lazar isn't in that spot, because I think that Boudreau probably trusts Dries to bring a little bit more offense than Curtis Lazar and play with those two players. And you can say what you want about that line. I don't think they were excellent throughout the game, but yeah, that's got to feel good for Sheldon Dries scoring that goal. And great guy, dealt with him a lot out there in Abbotsford last year. Nice to see him get a shot. And I think so far up to this point in the season, expectations were low on what Dries is going to do. And I think he's met them at least. He's met those low expectations for me up to this point.
Yeah. He's playing,
but he's had some bad games too. What was he? -5 a couple. He was on the ice for 5 goals against the other a few nights ago.
He's looking like Sheldon Rempel right now.
Well, Sheldon Rempel, yeah, he's playing for the Silver Knights right now. He's looking good too.
Okay. I wanted to talk about this because you just brought up the third line. Let's talk about another forward line last night.
Okay.
The Pettersson, Mikheyev, and Kuzmenko trio. They obviously get started really early. They opened the scoring with Ilya Mikheyev scoring a pretty nice goal.
I didn't even have my prawns open by the time I was sitting down to watch that one.
Pretty nice goal after PD kind of took advantage of a bit of a miscue, I'd say, between Cale Makar and Devon Taves. I don't think Taves wanted to knock that puck down the way it went. And PD was, right there to kind of knock it back in front. Nobody was there to cover Mikheyev. Mikheyev opens the scoring, I believe, 9 seconds in to that game. Whatever it was. How many seconds? You're shaking your head at me.
Wasn't it 16 seconds?
Okay. Thanks for that.
Well, no, and not even trying to make fun of you or anything, but the thing that was funny. So here, I got the tweet right in front of me here. I thought this was hilarious. Okay, it was 21 seconds into the game. And the Canucks PR account tweets out, Ilya Mikheyev's opening goal just 21 seconds in marks the 14th fastest goal to start a road game in Canucks history. What kind of stat is that? The 14th fastest in road Canucks game history.
Hey, you know what?
That's one of those stats where it's this is his 4th RBI in a 7th inning that started between 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern time on a Wednesday. These are what kind of stat is this? And the Canucks PR never tweets out these stats. That's my point. What are they doing?
That's my point, is they never tweet out stats. So I saw that. I was like, huh? I was like, what is going on here? But hey, kudos to them. I love that they're doing that rather than just mysteriously tweeting, avoiding tweeting the words day off after a big loss or whatever it is that they usually tweet.
That tweet, the tweet shouldn't have been sent by them. That should have been how Francesco Aquilini makes his return to Twitter. It's just wow, Ilya Mikheyev's opening goal. That's who should have tweeted out this ridiculously random stat. But 14th fastest to start a road game in history. What are you talking about?
When are we gonna see Francesco tweet again?
A couple more wins, I bet you'll get.
You think so?
Coming out. Yep.
Below 500? A couple more wins still doesn't get this team above 500.
No, but I bet it gets Frankie to start to believe.
I really would like to see, because hey, you know what? If you're scoreboard watching in November, which we all are, right? The Canucks right now are pretty close to a playoff spot.
3 points out.
I understand there's games in hand on the teams above them, and those teams also haven't gotten off to the starts they expected. They're going to be getting better, you would assume. But hey, right now, the St. Louis Blues only have 20 points in the season. Canucks got 17, right? They're close. They're 3 points out of a playoff spot. And again, we're not starting the whole team playoffs thing on this show. But
not yet.
What I'm saying is I would really love for the return to Twitter for Francesco Aquilini to be back in a playoff spot, baby, as soon as they sneak into that second wildcard spot.
Yeah, Francesco could lean into it. He could have some fun. I'd like him to have
Totally,
some fun
he
with it.
should.
He'd be good.
Absolutely.
But Alex has got a great graphic up here in front of us here, just looking at some of the stuff for the Canucks. And goal scoring has not been a problem, right? We're looking at goals per game right now, 3.5. That's 7th in the league. Goals against per game, 3.9, which is 30th in the league. That is the problem. So my question to you, and we'll get to some more quarterway check-ins here in a little bit, but is it easier to fix scoring or getting scored on, do you think? Because the Canucks don't need to really fix scoring. They're 7th in the league for putting up goals.
It's an interesting question.
But I think in the past, the thing that I've hated about this Canucks team is their inability to score at 5-on-5. And they're not really doing that. They are scoring. It's the goals that they're giving up. And you know, that's why these 2-goal leads have just disappeared so often. It's because you're the 3rd worst team in the league for giving up goals.
Yeah. I mean...
And Bryce says in the chat, look at the goalies there at the stats, like Demko, right? Like, if Demko's playing, not even playing like he was last year, just playing
above 900.
Yeah, above 900, you're talking about a very different looking record and a very different looking team.
And hey, don't look now. Spencer Martin's 5-1-1 on the season. Ooh. And his save percentage is now 901 on the season. And again,
all he does is win.
I don't want to take it away from what you were saying, because you brought up a good point about fixing defense. Depends who you ask, right? Like, if you bring in a defensive coach, and this is the point that we keep bringing up, Harm's brought up a few times, like, we've seen what happens
when
this
team... He'll be here tomorrow, by the way.
Harm. Yeah, when this team plays super defensive systems, we kind of see what happens. Like, we saw it with Travis Green, right? And the result was you score less, but you also give up less goals, but they were losing a lot of games just by 1 or 2. Their penalty kill was hurting them a lot. It's hard because the way I look at this team right now, Chris, is that they have 4 holes in their boat, and this boat represents the team. And they have 3 plugs. Let's say 2 plugs, okay?
I'd say they got more than that. Oh, sorry.
Out of 4?
Making a joke there.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, good one. Anyway.
Apparently.
Yeah, anyway. It feels like they have 2 or 3 plugs, and, you know, they can plug one up, and no matter what they do is, when they plug it up, they have to take the plug out of somewhere else, another hole. So when Jim Rutherford comes out and says stuff about structure, and you start hearing stuff about a coaching change and how if we play with structure, we'd be able to defend better. Yeah, maybe that's true, but it might come at the expense of offense, right? And again, like, it's not Bruce Boudreau's systems that are deciding the Canucks don't have a penalty killer who can win a faceoff and then go out and reliably kill a penalty. Like, Elias Pettersson's been fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Can't win a draw. Bo Horvat wins the draw, isn't the best penalty killer, right? Like, you need more than that, because right now, Bo Horvat and Elias Pettersson, and, you know, largely on the back of Elias Pettersson, to be clear, is this team's best penalty killer, and that's their best penalty killing unit. But again, it all comes back down to these holes in the lineup, or on the roster construction as a whole, really, right? Like let's say you go out and get a defensive, yeah, exactly. Alex with the Flex Seal pull. You go out and you put a little bit of Flex Seal in one hole, right? But then it breaks because you bought the cheap stuff. It wasn't the real Flex Seal. It breaks, but you filled another hole. You're still adding water to your boat. Like, you're still going down. And that's what it feels like for this Canucks team right now, is you might get different results if 2 of the holes are plugged. Because right now, let's say this properly. Thatcher Demko's a hole for this team right now, right? The defensive play in front of him is a hole. That's 2 holes. I'm thinking Thatcher Demko is going to come up and plug one of these holes. I think Thatcher Demko is going to turn around. I've been saying it for a while now, but I think it's going to happen. You've got Spencer Martin, who, you know, plugged the hole in a couple of his starts already, right? I'd say he plugged the hole last night. You plug the hole there, and then you start to see a team that, okay, maybe we can start to hang a little bit more, but you're still...
That's the key, though, is just to hang around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you're still... Hey, full marks to the Canucks. They took on the Colorado Avalanche after what could have been a pretty demoralizing defeat to the Vegas Golden Knights. Full marks to the Canucks. I know Colorado's banged up, but I don't knock teams for beating teams that are banged up, because, hey, Colorado banged up is still a fantastic team, to be clear. Also, I'm waiting to see what happens with Evan Rodriguez. That was a scary little thing that happened. Kind of got Miller, looked like Miller's skate kind of clipped him, kicked his skate. I'm losing my train of thought, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, Commander Vander had a good point. There's more hole than boat right now, as we
yeah, exactly. And again, it's just hard to just pin it on one thing, which is why I say you need to, you know, you need to plug all of these holes, and that's going to take time. It's going to take hard work. It's not going to be just your quick fixes. And again, like, that's kind of how this roster has been constructed for the past 10, whatever, how many years, is just plugging whatever hole you see. And then you look at that hole and you're like, this is done. And then the water starts to fill up and you look over there and you see there's more water coming in because another hole popped up, and then you go focus on that one, but then another hole popped up.
Yeah, it reminds me of my old Sea of Thieves days.
Someone's going to count how many times I've said holes.
Well, Marcus has got a good point. I'm getting uncomfortable with how many times Quads is saying holes. Yes, you're a big hole man today, Quads, and I don't know if we're going to keep going down this whole thing.
Well, you get what I mean.
And a lot of people are bringing it up. Like, it is interesting to have that sort of metaphor of talking about it, of like, yeah, there's a lot of holes, but it's also just like, maybe you just need a new boat, right? You know, like, how many times, listen, I used to have this old boat called the Bass Slayer, and that thing was great. But then by like 3 summers into it, had so many holes and little leaks that it was like, we got to get a new boat. Okay.
So you blew it up.
Well, no, I sold it to my buddy Steve for $50, and he's still, I think he's still
Steve,
trying.
So Steve is the Lou Lamorello of your friend crew.
Yeah, he's the boat's OEL, and I sent it off to my buddy Steve. He's taking the boat. But yeah, like I'm with you, and it's interesting because there's times where you could plug the holes. You can plug all the holes in certain games. I don't think you can plug the holes all season long, and that's what the Canucks team should be reaching towards, right? Like, yes, listen, last night was great, right? That was an awesome game. It was great to see that team come together and beat the defending Stanley Cup champions on a night where they outplayed them at even strength, and just were able to come back and have a good game and have some players step up into positions and make good plays, like OEL. And it just, but at the same time, like, though there was a good game for OEL with a couple of primary assists, there was still a bunch of mistakes, a bunch of holes in OEL's game. You all right over there?
The chat's just cracking me up. Everybody's talking about plugging holes.
Yeah, we're not, no more hole chat here on the show today.
All right. You're right.
All right. What final thing? I wanted to get to this. What are your thoughts on Niels Höglander with Miller and Horvat last night? And second part of this question, why not Vasily Podkolzin?
Because Sheldon Dries in the lineup, man.
No, but why not Vasily Podkolzin instead of Höglander? I like Höglander. I also really like Podkolzin. I just think that Podkolzin makes more sense with JT Miller.
Yeah.
And that's more specific.
But again,
you're right. But and I know you always say this. You like Niels Höglander a lot with Horvat, but I also like Podkolzin with Miller.
Yeah, but you don't construct a line being like, well, this winger who doesn't really defend is going to be really good for Podkolzin, or Podkolzin is going to be really great for this winger who doesn't defend.
Sure, but if you
say this young winger we have works really well with our captain and our leading goal scorer, who's not going to be here for very long by all indications. Let him grow his game and get confidence playing with the top center. Like, I think
before you send him off,
I think you have to play Niels Höglander with Bo Horvat right now. And again, like, you're asking me for my thoughts of last night. It was okay. You could tell it was like a very early chance for them. You know what I mean? Like, they need to play a little bit longer is what I'm trying to say for me to have a full kind of sample size. And that's what this team should be doing. Like, this team won with Niels Höglander on that line, and we're going to get to Elias Pettersson in a shutdown role because I love that. And we'll talk about it in a sec. But this team's got to be playing its young guys, right? And again, Vasily Podkolzin, again, you kind of look at him and say, well, he can play with anybody. Niels Höglander's not a fourth liner, right? And I think Vasily Podkolzin is growing his game more if he's playing on a fourth or third line than Niels Höglander is if he's playing on a fourth or third line, just based on how those two play. I like Niels Höglander with Bo Horvat, and I don't think, well, he plays well with JT Miller is enough reason for me to say, well, sure, it should be Podkolzin in the lineup. Also, both of them should be in the lineup.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be in the lineup. But I think looking at the forward group yesterday, and you're going to like this, Quads, as a whole, they were pretty good together. Even against, like, they're matching up against a really good team. So I think we might be back to that on Saturday. Would you be surprised to see a change? Podkolzin come in the lineup?
I would be surprised, but
here's my take. What if it's Garland? Would Garland be the one to go out again? Like, he's already been healthy scratch this year.
Yeah,
and he got banged up on the hand. Like, you could see it looked like, that's a finger between two sticks getting banged out there. So
yeah, and we'll talk about Connor Garland's goal that got taken away because people in the chat are asking me to explain it. But no. Garland coming out, like, Nils Aman's been a good story. Nils Aman's been a good story.
Part of our poll question.
I would rather see Curtis Lazar go back to center. Nils Aman come out, just even if it's just for a game or two.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think Aman's I think it would be I think his play over the past handful of games hasn't been as good as it was to start the
Yeah,
year.
exactly.
I think a night off could benefit.
Yeah, and again,
I'm with you there.
Dakota Joshua's the guy that's kind of swapping in and out during line rushes
And
with Bud
he's
Colson.
taking faceoffs, I've noticed, on like more consistently on the strong side. Dakota Joshua's taking the faceoffs when he's on the right side of his own zone. He's taking the faceoff instead of him on, because I think he has a strong forehand, kind of in the similar way to JT Miller, who he just like swings forehand and brings it back. Like Joshua kind of does the same thing.
Joshua played center in St. Louis. And it was funny because last night, Amon got waved out of a faceoff, and Lazar and Joshua kind of looked at each other, and Lazar waved to Joshua and was basically like, go take that draw.
Like, we're all sort of centers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. All right, let's get to 20 games into the season. It's time for the quarterway check-in on the season. And here's a graphic I built of Quarterway Elementary School, which is where I went to school. So we're at the Quarterway point right now. And there's some photos of my childhood that I've included here into the YouTube. That's my old school. That's me with the book of kites at one of my birthdays. And that is a grade 7 class photo of mine with Jackson McDonald, actually, friend of the show. He's also in that photo right there. You can see him back there, me and him.
Fantastic. That's not a real sign, is it? Like the Quarterway Cougar sign there, that's not real.
That's the logo on the right there. I just added that in.
Okay.
And that beautiful mural on the bottom there, that's right at our school right there. Quarterway Cougars.
That's not real. Oh, yeah, you okay, sorry.
That's an old photo.
Yeah, I see that it's now on the road, and obviously it's not real. Okay. Spirit Week and Crazy Hair Day.
And Pajama Day. That's not how you spell pajamas, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yes. Pajama. I'm telling Aaron to clip that.
No, don't clip that.
Aaron's our clip guy, by the way, folks. We never talk about him. We only talk about Alex, but Aaron's our clip guy. He clips stuff for us. So shout out Aaron.
Don't be clipping the...
I'm clipping that. That's going on Twitter.
Pajama Day.
Pajama.
All right, let's get to it. Let's start with the poll question. Because I think that kind of is an interesting way to start the quarter check-in to the season. The quarterway check-in, as I'm calling it. Shout out to my old elementary school there. So our poll question is, which is the most surprising stat up to this point in the season? After 20 games, I should say. Quarterway mark. Bo Horvat with 16 goals. Thatcher Demko with a 2-9-2 record with an 883 save percentage. Or, as we mentioned earlier, Neil Zaman playing in all 20 of the games. Let's see what Alex has to say here. How's Alex feeling? Is he angry today? Is he Horvat today? Is he Almond today? What is he like? He's going with Demko.
Yeah, I have to agree with the
Alex
majority.
is a man of the people.
Yeah, majority of voters, 67%, say Demko and his record and his save percentage have been the biggest surprise. Bo Horvat at 16 goals has been second biggest surprise, according to the voters. And then 8.2% of people say they are angry. Neil Simon playing 20 games, not surprising a lot of people.
It was like 80 votes in, and there wasn't one vote for Amon yet. And I was like, damn, I couldn't think of another stat to like put in there to round it out, because I think this is a 2-horse race here.
Is PD being over a point per game surprising at all?
No, that's why I didn't want to put it in there, because I don't think that's surprising.
No,
I think
agree with you.
Listen, I knew Horvat was going to score some goals. 16 and leading the league is not what I expected.
Yeah.
Demko's obviously very surprising as well. I think I'm with the people on this one.
Yeah. We
Demko
should also
2-9-2
mention that our poll question is brought to you by the great folks over at Atlas Goods, locally owned and operated. You can go to atlasgds.com, use promo code CC15 for 15% off your first order of Pop Rind, the perfect zero carb snack. Make them in your microwave or air fryer. They are like pork rinds you've never had before. Check them out, atlasgds.com, free shipping on any order over $50, just like Zephyr.
Yep.
Okay. So the poll question, honestly, no surprises there. Like, no surprises about what's surprising people. Thatcher Demko has been a surprise. He's been a negative surprise this year. And again,
a hole, as you would say.
He's just shown so many signs of climbing out of it, right? Like, there's been sequences where you look and you say, okay, the movement there, it's all there. Like, it's all there. So what's going wrong for him? And again, it feels like it's almost all between the ears for Thatcher Demko right now, right? Like, and it's just something he has to get out of, because right now he's still in it.
And you know what I think of it, just to kind of spin the goalie talk here a little bit too. I also think it's between the ears for Spencer Martin, and it's like he's not playing incredible hockey. He's not playing lights out. His save percentage is just over 900. But I think between the ears, he's getting wins, and I think that's the thing that's boosting his confidence. When you look at Demko at 9-2-2, wait, what did I say? 2-9-2. That's what I should say.
Yeah.
Like, I think the results and just how things are playing out in front of them, that's what's costing them big time.
Commander Vander jumped in the chat with a nickname for Thatcher Demko. Thatcher the Hole.
Okay, no,
Demko.
let's drop the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what can you really say about the goaltending right now? It's who gets the start? Like,
ooh, baby.
Back-to-back coming up. Spencer Martin, I think. Like, I think you give Demko a chance against Vegas, right? Like, you play Demko in Vegas, and then Spencer Martin gets the second half of the back-to-back. It's going to be a tough back-to-back. Like, San Jose, I know their record isn't pretty, but, like, they're not a bad team. They're not horrible. They're gonna give them a run for their money, especially on the second half of a back-to-back. Like, it's not going to be an easy win for the Canucks in San Jose.
I just realized I'm going to have to miss pickleball on Sunday.
Okay.
Forgot about the back-to-back on Sunday. Yeah, I don't think it really matters, honestly. What? I can't have things outside of the sport that I enjoy.
Well, I'm talking to you about something about the Canucks and you pickleball. Don't bring up the racket. Put the racket down. Put the racket down.
Ready to play.
Okay. Anything else from the quarterway check-in that surprises you? Because I know Jeff Patterson tweeted it out.
Sorry, I don't know. I brought the pickleball thing, but to what you asked, like, I don't think it matters who starts which one. I think you go Demko for maybe what you said, like between the ears sort of thing, the mental part of the game. I think you probably want him to go back against Vegas and be like, hey, like, I want to get one back off of a team that just, gave him a little whooping there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that's why I keep saying give it to Demko. Like,
yeah,
let's see.
But then you go back to Martin on Sunday. No questions in my eyes.
Yeah. Okay. After 20 games, J-Pat tweeted this out. 20 game mark year. Last year compared to this year, Canucks have 14 points in the standings at this time last year with 46 goals for and 65 goals against. This season, 17 points in the standings with 70 goals and 78 goals against. Again, 24 additional goals for the Canucks and 3 points more in the standings. And hey, Canucks are benefiting from the Western Conference being basically a tire fire right now.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the standings.
West is not
it's
best
close,
right now.
but here's the thing is they're not close to a playoff spot because they've gone on some sort of heater. They're close to a playoff spot, but they're also really close to the bottom of the league too, right? Like, it's very close. They're very close to being, kind of right in that spot. Like, they're 4 points ahead of the Anaheim Ducks for the bottom spot in the league. So it's close. It could go either way. And like, you know what? It's entertaining at least.
I think I know where a lot of people want it to go. Now with Connor Bedard in town doing his interviews today, we had to miss it, unfortunately, because we got to do this show here.
Connor Bedard saying today, I think it was Randeep that asked him that he still tries to watch.
We'll have Randeep on the show here one of these days.
Tries to watch as many Canucks games as he can. So guy already knows the systems, although I don't think it'll matter much.
Yeah, let's try and get
it won't matter much by the time Bedard's here.
Let's I did build a graphic for the Canucks stats and some of the interesting ones that stuck out to me. Alex, you can pull this one up, the stats 20 games into the season here. I think that obviously the big one to me that sticks out just stat wise has to be Bo Horvat. With the amount of goals. He has 16 goals up to this point in the season. But ice time as well, Quinn Hughes just shy of 25 minutes. I don't think that comes as a huge surprise up to any point. But here's the other one, like Elias Pettersson, 10 goals on the year, all 10 of them in even strength.
Sorry, Elias Pettersson has 25 blocks on the season, blocked shots. Are you seeing this?
Yeah.
He has 25 blocked shots. The next highest forward, I can't even find it. Like,
I know it's pretty small font.
I literally don't think there's a forward that's even close to that.
JT Miller has 14.
Yeah, that's the second highest. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyways, sorry. Go on.
This is why Kyle Burrows shows up so well in the dog rate. Look at what Burrows does. In 11 games, he got 22 shot blocks and 35 hits.
Yeah.
That's a dog. Like that. And quickly about Kyle Burrows, here's the thing. If we would have been watching this game with Riley Stillman in the lineup, we would have been talking about something Riley Stillman did. Anything Kyle Burrows do yesterday? He didn't do anything.
He had the lowest Corsi rating. Found that out in the statsies.
I don't care. He didn't look bad. He didn't look bad at all. He was one of those situations where, hey, if he's your sixth defenseman in the lineup and you don't talk about him, good game.
He did get benched in the third.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so did Tyler Myers.
Sure. No, he didn't. They were still rotating Tyler Myers.
Oh, no. Myers played 35 seconds in the last 6 minutes.
Yeah, sure. But Burrows was for longer. Anyways, okay. We're arguing semantics now.
Yeah, no, I just say I tell you what, I like the lineup a lot better with Kyle Burrows in there, and it just takes a little bit of pressure off of Luke Shen to be the guy who always has to fight.
Yeah,
right.
Luke Shen, 86 hits on the season. I'm sorry, I keep being drawn to this hit stat.
I know you like the hits. Any other stat that sticks out for you?
I mean,
Quinn Hughes with 0 goals, 18 assists. He's more than a point per game off of assists. That's obviously impressive. But hey, JT Miller at a -10 as well.
Yeah,
that's not surprising. It's just a number that pops off the page to me.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to keep talking about JT Miller. Like, okay. I don't. We'll get to it. He's got 10 goals. Look, guy's on pace for what, 40 goals in the year? There you go.
What do you think about Pettersson not having a power play goal? What do you think that comes from?
Being really good at 5-on-5.
Okay.
Also, him rotating to the top of the zone last night. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Quinn Hughes at the net front. Give me Tyler Myers at the net front. Give me Elias Pettersson at the top. I love it. I love that. And again, like, Petey can get the shot through from the top, right? Oh, yeah. Like, I like that different look. And again, we saw the Edmonton Oilers power play do that a lot last year, right? Like, everybody rotating, right? Like, everybody on that power play playing every single spot, basically. Like, that's something that the Canucks could add. Like, they have the players to do it.
Yeah, Colorado looks really good doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez, they look good doing
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see it. And I know the Canucks power play isn't bad or anything, but
the Avalanche are clicking at 35%.
Yeah, exactly.
They have more talent still, but not much. If you're just talking about like power play scoring, not much. Like, because that's where JT Miller does his best work.
It's just Kill McCarr. Kill McCarr and Nate McKinnon.
I tell you what, man, Kill McCarr, that guy looks good.
Not as many goals as Bo Horvat.
No, not as many as Horvat. That's for sure. What's another? Somebody brought up a good stat here. Oh, Jeff brought up Kuzmenko with 0 hits is kind of crazy. I think the league's against Kuzmenko.
Sorry,
I've seen hits. I've been in the press box and I've looked down the line and I've yelled at everyone. There's Kuzmenko's first hit. Nobody reacts to me in the press box, but I think it's I've seen hits from Kuzmenko. I tell you, I tweeted it out the other day. I was rattled about it. He had 2 different occasions where it was like 3/4 of a hit.
Him and Thatcher Demko are the only players without a hit, and Spencer Martin.
Well, Spencer Martin's working on it though.
Yeah, he's working. Okay. Can we talk about Elias Pettersson?
Because I got graphics too.
I texted you and I said, hey, we got to make sure we talk about Elias Pettersson today, because what a game for Elias Pettersson. And I don't know if you ever look at this when you do your job. Do you ever look back and say there's things I regret not making a fuss about or talking about more or bringing it into the media sphere?
No, I make enough of a fuss on everything, so I'm feeling pretty good about my
because mine stands out after last night, and it's something I'll kick myself for forever, and I'm going to try to make sure it doesn't happen again. I've always, and I've talked about it in the past, I'm not, I just didn't talk about it enough, I don't think. Elias Pettersson in a matchup role. They did that in the last game. Like, we always talk about it. It feels like so long ago, but it also feels so recent. That game where it looked like Elias Pettersson was going to turn the corner and become the Canucks shutdown guy, goes toe-to-toe with Matt Barzal. It was their final game before the COVID cancellation, right? Plays in a matchup role there. Does extremely well. They play in the playoffs. He does well there too.
I met my future wife on that night.
Okay.
Just so you know.
St. Louis Blues are the matchup that Elias Pettersson basically can't handle with Ryan O'Reilly there, which is fair. Like, he was a young kid. Still scored really well in that bubble playoffs, but Canucks basically had him in that matchup role over Minnesota. It worked. It worked against Minnesota. Ryan O'Reilly was a different story. They had to kind of move away from it. But, like, let's not forget that this team was using, like your Jay Beagles, your Brandon Sutters in that shutdown role as the hard match of first-line players when Travis Green was the coach of this team. Like, that was what we had before. And now it's moved away from that. But the past 2 seasons, when they lose these guys, right, like your Beagles, your Sutters, it mattered a lot more than I think anybody thought it would. Like, Wyatt had a line in the Stanchies last night that made me laugh, because he wrote, like, the Canucks penalty kill so far this season has made you wonder if Jay Beagle was actually underpaid when he was here, right? Like they don't have that matchup center, right? Like, Pettersson showed early signs of it, right? Like, in that season. And again, like I pointed out, he got overpowered by Ryan O'Reilly, who's a great 2-way center, right? Like, there's a guy who's on Selke ballots, okay? They don't try it again, basically ever, right? Like, they move away from it. And I'm not talking about Travis Green. I'm talking about Bruce Boudreau as well. Bruce Boudreau hasn't really used PD in that matchup role. Pettersson told Ian McIntyre of Sports, and I believe it was just a one-on-one conversation, but iMac was the one who tweeted out, that Pettersson's been kind of lobbying Bruce Boudreau to get those matchup minutes. And what we know about Bruce Boudreau as a coach is what he told us last year when he said, guys like Petey and Quinn came up to me and said they want to kill penalties. So they're going to until they prove that they can't do it. So he always tries to give the players opportunities, but it sure seemed like it was a while before they moved back to Elias Pettersson in that spot. And again, how many games they played this year? 20? Took them 20 games to get Elias Pettersson into that matchup role. I would say since game 1, Pettersson's looked capable of handling those minutes and handling that role as the matchup center.
Yeah. To add to that, do you think anybody like Pettersson wants it more than anybody else?
Yeah.
He wants that. He wants to be the number one center.
And he made it clear.
Yeah. He's made it clear. He wants that more than like Bo Horvat wants that, or more than JT Miller wants that. Like the way that I just see, like this is just from me watching them play. Like I think JT Miller really likes putting up points. I think he loves doing that and doing the offensive thing. But to me, Pettersson wants to go one-on-one with the best and beat him more than anybody on this team, I think. And that's when you get the best out of him, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no other way to say it, is that this is the guy that you do want to build a franchise around, right? Like you let him come into that role. And again, he did it last night and he's been lobbying Boudreau for it. I don't think we're seeing Pettersson move out of that. Like you look at who's on the docket here, like I think we see it in Vegas. Obviously we see it in San Jose. Like San Jose, he can handle that matchup against San Jose's top guns. He's going to go toe to toe with Jack Eichel. Like I think that's what we're going to see. That's what I think we should see. And again, I feel like matchups never get talked about like a ton, but they should be with Elias Pettersson right now. Like Elias Pettersson should be in that role. And again, this is the quote from Pettersson. He said to iMac, "I love it. I want to play against the best line, the best players. I mentioned to Bruce that I'm ready if he wants to play me there. He's shown he's ready to be there like all season long." And again, what I'm going back to when I said at the start, your biggest regret. My biggest regret is not calling for this earlier and saying, like, especially when the team was struggling early on, is saying like, hey, Elias Pettersson is this team's best two-way center. It's clear. It's been clear for a while now. And he's not getting the best matchups. Like he's not playing the top minutes and the other lines are getting caved in. Like,
yeah. You want to see something ridiculous? Alex, can you pull up the Pettersson isolated impact as we cut away from the 12-minute ISO cam on quads there? It's ridiculous how much better the Canucks are on the ice with Pettersson. Like seeing the expected goals go up 11% with Pettersson on the ice, seeing the expected goals against go down 8% when Pettersson's on the ice. What he's doing at 5-on-5 is just ridiculous. Like the defending, and you can kind of see here on YouTube for everyone watching here and on the podcast, but we'll break it down for the podcast listeners. Like Pettersson's defending of the slot and the crease is so impressive. Not so much the crease, I think a little bit, because that's not necessarily his area, but the area of the slot that's being changed, like how he just does a good job defending that is incredible. It's wild to see. Also at defensively, like the other thing, can you pull this one up, Alex, the spray chart? Because Pettersson isn't just shooting from one side of the ice. It's all over. It's basically perfectly spread out from where Pettersson is taking his shots from. And it's like he's going to the slot. He's getting a majority of his shot attempts from the slot, but he's getting shots from outside on the left, on the right. It's just this is the best I've seen Pettersson and like just play the game of hockey. Like obviously he's not scoring like he did in the first 10 games of his career. Like that was a ridiculous amount. But right now the hockey that Pettersson is playing as a whole, as a whole, this is the best we've seen of Pettersson, I think, up to this point. And yeah, all the minutes to Pettersson, all the number one matchups. I think he's ready for it and ready to take that on and take that step, because that's still a step that I think he needs to take in his career. And he's definitely, he's at half stride mark at this point. He's almost there. So I think he's ready to take the full step and be there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is the progression that everybody kind of wanted to see from Elias Pettersson. He's really coming into his own as one of the game's best two-way centers. But hey, like, as much as we like to talk about and fans like to say, oh, well, he should be up for the Selke. You're not going to be up for the Selke if you're not playing against top lines.
Right.
Like you have to play against the opposition's best to get that reputation. Like Patrice Bergeron didn't get that reputation by matching up against third lines, right? Like that's not what happens.
Yeah, so I felt that as a message yesterday of Pettersson taking center ice against Nathan McKinnon to start the game. And then they go score. It's like, feed me more, brother.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Ryback.
Like Ryback. Yeah. There's a pull.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I got prospects report, right?
Go ahead.
Are we good for that, or you got anything else you want to get
I got nothing else.
You're done for the week. It's your last little bit. You're done.
My last
prospects. I got Betway.
Talk to you listeners on Monday.
All right. Blow me up here, Alex. I'm ready to rock here. I got prospects here. We'll start with this. This is the movie Holes. You remember this movie?
Yes. Shia
LaBeouf. Good movie, I think, in general. It's a great movie. Okay, let's get started with Lucas Forsell here. Lucas Forsell yesterday. So he's playing the Allsvenskan. We all know that. Let's get the video going here. Look at so much confidence in this kid. I forget what they call this move here, the skate when you're going sideways. Someone let me know in the chat, but just skates around the ice, a lot of confidence, moves the puck, comes back and wires a slap shot pass. This is a 3-3 game here. And Lucas Forsell scores the game winner. This is yesterday in Allsvenskan. He's now matched with Jonathan Lekaremaki, same amount of goals. 19-year-old Lucas Forsell, by the way. He's not the 23-year-old prospect. He's the young buck still. So good stuff from Lucas Forsell, seeing a little bit more confidence in him as he's playing the Allsvenskan. Love to see that. I think Forsell's a player who has so much skill, but I like the way that he plays, like how hard he plays a lot of the time as well too. He uses his skating, he uses his skill, but we also really like what he does, just kind of physically and things like that. Like he's a finesse player who gets in the dirty areas, and I like that. So let's get to our next one here. This is our boy here, Quads, Filip Johansson. He scores a game winner today as well. We're looking at a 0-0 game here in the second period. They end up winning 3-0. So Filip Johansson gets the game winner. The defenseman, right shot defenseman. He's coming over here next year. He's got a couple of McDonald's logos there on his buttocks, as you can see in the video if you're watching here on YouTube. Look at that McDonald's sponsorship on the pants. Double cheeked up with McDonald's there. All right. Let's finish the prospect report there. So that's the prospect report. Can we get to the Betway bet, which is already over? I did the Betway bet today. Betway. Josh Allen did hit the plus 250. You got to check all this out on the Canucks Army Twitter account in the morning. So Josh Allen, he already got his 250. Kirk Cousins, he plays tonight. He's playing the Patriots at I don't know, 5 o'clock tonight, 250 passing yards. So this Betway bet doesn't help at all. So
check out Betway,
but go to Betway, bet the responsible way, and we'll look for the videos. Every morning I put them up. I'm at 9 a.m. I'm up. You can tell the days where I haven't had my coffee in those videos, some of them that I'm doing, because I got big bags under my eyes, or my eyes aren't even open in half of them. So if my eyes aren't open, then I haven't had my coffee yet. If my eyes are wide open, I probably just had my coffee for the Betway video.
Fantastic. The chat was cracking me up during that prospect report, and it was topped off by you saying double cheeked up with McDonald's. Some really good interaction in the chat. Really, and folks,
good way to send you off into the weekend.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Golden Arches.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Canucks Army YouTube channel. I have a tweet up now. You can go check it out on my Twitter account. We need those subscribers on the Canucks Army.
Yeah, because once Nation Network sees what's going on here, I don't think
we're gonna get pulled off the air. So we need our own channel.
Yeah.
Okay. I really want to read all these from the chat because they're really good.
I think everyone else is just reading it.
Yeah.
And poor Corey Anderson says, I finally hit a live stream, and this is the one.
Poor Corey. This is Corey's first live
Corey,
stream.
we're happy to have you here, though.
Yeah.
And Commander Vander and everything. Anything you want to say? You're taking the weekend off here. The rich keep getting richer. You got Fridays off now. Harm's going to be in here tomorrow, so we're pumped about that. Anything else?
No.
All right.
This is a fun episode.
Jeez, a bird almost flew into the window. What's happening right now?
Oh my gosh, that thing's
a bird just flew directly down there.
I saw that. Okay. Wrap it up. That's my job. Sorry, yeah, that's my job. Yeah, you're gonna do ad reads and everything tomorrow. Or I'll call in and
there's the whole thing right there. You can
stop.
Go to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, click it. Fill all the. Never mind. Just subscribe to the channel, folks. What a tire fire of a show. Okay, for my co-host Chris Faber, I'll be replaced by Holman Dial tomorrow. Our technical producer is Alex Allard.
There's too much holes going on here in the chat. The chat is out of control.
Yeah. My name's David Quattrelli. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Canucks Conversation.
Thanks for listening to Canucks Conversation, delivered by DoorDash. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.
How about keep it to a thank you, Jim?